So now we're going to jump into the main event review of the episode, Nosferatu, Robert Eggers 2024. So yeah, man, I dig it, man. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was pretty much what I expected. I don't have any notes or anything, so I'm just like, just letting it rip. You know what I mean? Just kind of rolling with it. We're going straight off the dome today with today's review. Like I said, podcast format's back. Want to get a little bit loosey-goosey with it, so we're just going to kind of roll. Anyways, yeah, it was kind of what I was expecting. Robert Eggers is very good with the period piece stuff. He's very, punctual with the dialogue and the settings and the atmosphere and the costumes. All that stuff, I definitely is what I was expecting from it. And I was pleasantly pleased with it. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Bram Stoker's Dracula from the 90s. Obviously, we're playing off of a similar and same story pretty much. So there's lots of similarities there, but I like how he kind of mixed in some of the original Dracula story with the Nosferatu stuff, changing some character stuff up a little bit, kind of doing his own kind of thing with it, kind of like mixing the two a little bit, leaning towards the Nosferatu thing, but then kind of like incorporating some of that kind of stuff. Awesome. I thought that stuff was really great. Acting all around was pretty good. I feel like Willem Dafoe really stole the show. Of course, I kind of figured he would. He's really good with these type of roles. He's great at chewing the scenery, and all the line delivery and everything just feels like very authentic. You know what I mean? Like some of the other actors in the film, like some of the side characters and stuff, does feel a little bit like you're watching a play. It does kind of feel like that, but I feel like it's gonna feel like that because of like the style of movie it is. It's like those old school style of movies. This is what you think of when you think of a play, stuff like that. So, yeah, it's going to have that vibe with some of it. But I feel like Lily Rose Depp did a pretty good job. I was hearing a lot of that from her, from different reviewers talking about her performance here. And I feel like some of it does have that vibe where you're like, okay, this feels like kind of high school play a little bit. I don't know. But then some of it's great. Like some of her delivery is wonderful. I feel like all the possession stuff worked really, really well. I feel like it was really cool. It was a really cool aspect to kind of work in some like exorcism-y vibes into this thing. I know there's some of that in the original stuff and then the 92 and whatnot, but the way that they did it here, I thought was really cool. The casting was really wonderful. I really wanted Anya Taylor-Joy. I hear that that she was supposed to be signed onto the project like a long time ago, but I don't know, maybe scheduling conflicts or something. I was just like, man, that would have been perfect because she was in The Witch, Robert Eggers. Like the familiarity of just like working together before would have been really cool to see. And I just love her. She's just a great actress. She's one of my favorite right now. And just like, moving up in the horror world, as like one of those, like, I guess a modern day scream queen, I guess you could say. So yeah, I was kind of bummed that we were getting Lily Rose Depp instead of Anya Taylor-Joy, but cool with it, man. I think she did a really good job with it. I'm happy with what she did. Yeah, I didn't really have a problem with too many of the actors or the performances when it comes to the acting. Yeah, I feel like it was fairly solid. Like I said, there's some moments here and there with some of your side characters and some of your like less important characters, I guess. It feels a little bit playish. But it's fine. It's going to happen. I feel like in these type of movies, you're not going to nail it. Not everybody's going to be a Willem Dafoe. They're not all going to bring it like that. It is what it is. All the other stuff too, like all the other aspects, really worked on me, man. It hit on all cylinders for me. I think that's the best way to put it. Like with these type of slow burn movies, which I'm a fan of. Like all kinds of stuff. I always say that, and I guess I'll be saying that again in my new videos here. Is all over the place as a fan. Like I watch Terrifier type movies, like a cheeseburger and fries type of movies, how I refer to those, like a shut your brain off roller coaster of a movie, just kind of a fun ride. And I love your, A24 art house. Is the lead character even alive at the end? Did any of this even happen? I like those type of movies too. So I'm all over the place. So when it comes to like this type of movie, I'm a big fan of old school monster stuff. That's where it all started for me, was Frankenstein, and then, Dracula, Wolfman, all that. And then Freddy Krueger and like 80s horror movie characters and stuff like that. And, it all, goes from there. So yeah, I have a lot of like, just like fandom when it comes to like Dracula stuff and Nosferatu stuff. I just think it's cool. So, not like a massive vampire fan in general. I do like a lot of vampire stuff though. So again, Bram Stoker's Dracula from the 90s, one of my favorite movies ever. I've got a story about that from seeing it in theaters at 5 years old. It's pretty much the story. It's pretty crazy, but we'll review that movie at some point. We'll talk about it. Back to Nosferatu. Atmosphere, another element of this film that I really, really enjoyed. Just super solid, just super creepy, super ominous. Just the lack of color here is just like, it really sucked me in. I was kind of like, wanting maybe a little bit more color because I was just kind of maybe comparing things to the Bram Stoker one too much. But once it's all said and done, it really works for me. Just like the dull color palette and just the gloomy feel of it is really pulled me in. It was really captivating stuff. Paced pretty well too for a slow burn type movie. Yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I don't feel like it moves pretty quick. We get some, changing of what's going on and character development stuff, fairly rapidly for a longer film in a slow burn. So I didn't really have a problem with the pacing either. I never felt bored. It didn't feel like too long. Like I said, it doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome, at least for me. But again, I'm a fan of a slow burn. I feel like this one feels kind of divisive among fans a lot right now. And I feel like it might just be fatigue of like the slow burn thing, because the A24 stuff has been like kind of the thing for a while. You were hearing about, all the Robert Eggers stuff and Hereditary and Midsummer as well, and like Ari Aster stuff, and just like those type of like slower, more like mood movies, you know what I mean? And I feel like, I don't know, with Terrifier popping up and it becoming like a big sensation and some other stuff kind of being a little bit more fast paced, I feel like maybe fans are getting a little fatigued with some of the slower stuff. And I feel like, I don't want to be that old guy, but I feel like some of it might be like age, like audience age. I feel like it's hard for some of these younger crowds to take stuff like this serious. You know what I mean? It's like, you want to laugh at it. You want to meme it. You know what I mean? We're in like the meme culture world, so everything kind of gets turned into a meme, especially things that are like overly serious. We have the new meme of like, it insists upon itself. I'm sure a lot of people are talking about Nosferatu insisting upon itself, but that's just like the vibe with these movies. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna feel a little uptight. It's gonna have that kind of vibe with the characters and stuff. It's a time period that it takes place in. It's all that kind of stuff. It's the vibe. But I'm a fan of that kind of stuff. So for me personally, I feel like Robert Eggers really did a great job with it. It's not a risky movie at all, though. That's one thing that I've heard a complaint about, and I can see what you're doing there. You know what I mean? Like, it's the Dracula story. It's the Nosferatu story. Some slight changes here and there, some kind of mixing the subject matter a little bit, but that's kind of what Robert Eggers does. He stays very, on course with what it needs to be. So I like a Robert Eggers who's kind of doing his own thing a little bit more than a Robert Eggers that's like doing a remake, if that makes any sense. Like with The Lighthouse and The Witch, even The Northman I really enjoyed too. But The Lighthouse and The Witch are like really up there for me. And that's just, based in like The Witch, like a folktale kind of thing, but it's not like a remake of a film. You know what I mean? So like there isn't any expectation for it to be anything like another film. So I think that's kind of the best place to put Robert Eggers, is like kind of just let him do his own originals and play with different subgenres and stuff like witches and whatnot, and like isolation, different things that he likes to do. I feel like that's cool. But this was apparently a big passion project for him, and that's awesome. I'm really glad that he got to do what he wanted to do. Apparently he'd been talking about this since like after The Witch. So like this was supposed to happen before The Lighthouse and before all, The Northman and stuff. But it's like, wow, I'm glad he got it done, because I remember hearing about it a long time ago, and I remember being like, that's the guy, you know what I mean? So that was kind of like the thing when it came to a remake for me of Nosferatu or anything like old school Dracula monster movie related. It's like, man, if y'all are going to keep it in those times, like, that's your guy. You know what I mean? Robert Eggers is the dude to do that, I think. He just nails it, man. So yeah, overall, I love it. I thought it was really fun, really enjoyable. I'm kind of excited to rewatch it, which is rare for me with a slow burn. I'm a rewatcher. Don't get me wrong. I rewatch my stuff, but it takes something for me to want to rewatch a slower burn, period piece type movie. But I don't know. It's just like it has like this rich flair to it that I really want to like get back into and kind of like explore a little bit more. And just kind of like, now that I've seen it, kind of like redigest it on the second view, because like that second view is like pretty important, like for like, to me at least, as far as like how much do I really like a movie or whatever. So yeah, first impression, I watched it yesterday. It just hit streaming recently, a couple days ago or so. So I clicked it on and had a great time with it, man. If you like slow burns, if you like these type of movies, if you're a A24 Robert Eggers fan, I think you'll like it. Again, there's not a whole lot of, anything new being traded on here. We're not reinventing any wheels, but it's solid for what it is. Oh yeah, something I didn't go into either is Nosferatu himself. Yeah, man, Bill Skarsgård. Wonderful performance here, man. Super wheezy boy, but god dang, dude, super ominous as well, man. Looks great. The character design here for Nosferatu is just like truly undead. You know what I mean? Like he's like a zombie walking around, dude. He looks nasty. It's gross. It's like, it played more on like a realistic take of a vampire, which is pretty cool. It doesn't have like the suave thing. You know what I mean? Like they were able to do in Bram Stoker's Dracula film. It's like, he uses the power from the people on the boat to like look young again. Like we don't get that here. I kind of figured we would. I was thinking we were going to get that, but we didn't. And I thought that was kind of a cool take. It was they kept him very like a monster. You know what I mean? Like it's very rooted in like, this is a monster movie. You know what I mean? So that was another really cool aspect, is just like Nosferatu himself, the look. Yeah, everything just worked for me. Very like ominous with the vocal stuff and like his line delivery and whatnot. It's just like super scary. It's like whenever he's talking to him at the table at the beginning and he's just like, don't mention that again. It's like, whoa, man. It's like, he's stuck there, man. That's scary. So yeah, wonderful stuff. Great chemistry between all the characters and stuff. Willem Dafoe really did it for me. Yeah, he made the film really fun and like a good adventure. I loved his character too. It's how he was like, willing to kind of look into the occult, look into like things that we don't know, other realms and other, possession, stuff like that. And, they're like, you're a lunatic. He's like, maybe, but your way's not explaining anything. So pretty cool. He's like willing to be like, I don't know, but it could be this wild shit that I might have some evidence of, you know what I mean? So yeah, interesting. I guess the ending we could talk about a little bit. It felt a little abrupt to me, because I've been hearing that complaint as well. Like the ending just feels abrupt, but it was such a wonderful shot. Like not even necessarily the last shot, but where he's like melting and his mouth's open. It's like nastiness running out. It's so cool. Yeah, it's a wonderful look. Really great effects there. Really great effects all throughout. Yeah, it felt a little abrupt, but that's kind of the vibe when it comes to those old school movies. They were also a lot shorter, which is definitely different now. But these movies are really long usually. But those old school monster movies, it kind of felt like they just ended. You know what I mean? Like you didn't really get that wrap up scene of like what's going to happen now and where the character is going to go from here. You don't really get that, and you don't really get that here either. But the way it all played out and the way like Lily Rose Depp's character is like, nobody's listening to her. Everybody's trying to like fix it for her, and everybody's trying to figure out the problem for her. And then she just goes out of her way and does her way. So yeah, I thought that was really cool that she kind of just, did her thing with it. I kind of like the abrupt ending. I feel it feels Robert Eggers to me. His movies kind of feel like that. They just like abruptly kind of stop once things are done. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it works. Didn't have a problem with it at all. Really enjoyed it.